Let's bring in Francesco Rizzuto, who is the Dean of the School of Law at Liverpool's Hope University. So, Francesco, Rishi Sunak pitched his premiership to stopping the boats, so it's not a bad New Year's present for him, is it? Especially that the numbers are going down.
I think it's good news for him because we've gone from 45 to, I think it was 29,090 to be precise, up until the 14th of December. So on the surface, yes, it looks good news. However, we have to look behind the numbers. And of course, as your report indicated, the bad weather has certainly played a role in the last few weeks. Also, of course, we also need to look at the numbers that are down. From which kinds of nationalities are they down? I would hazard a guess to say that if you like, where the numbers have dropped has been in Albanians. Now, that's interesting because we have a return agreement with Albanians that we are now sending back to Albania, because Albania is regarded as a safe country, and Albanians seeking asylum in the UK is slightly problematic. So if you like, looking at the devil in the detail as to why the numbers have dropped is actually quite important. But of course, if you're the government and you're the Prime Minister and you stake your political future on stopping the boats, then this is a good sign. But the idea that these people are being deterred because we'll send them to Rwanda, or that Rwanda is safe, is frankly to simply say that the Supreme Court, who basically on the basis of the evidence said that it wasn't, is turning reality on its head, frankly.
So what do you think Rishi Sunak can do to keep his Rwanda policy alive, and what would be his fortunes if he can't?
Well, we'll see what happens in the House of Commons later on in this month or at the beginning of next month, whether he's going to be pushed into basically reneging on some of our international commitments, or whether he manages to resist. But either way, I think viewers have got to appreciate legally exactly what the government has done, that it has the right to do, but it smacks in the face of the evidence, if you like. So we don't like the evidence. Let's change the law and pretend it's okay. So he's got to get it through the House of Commons. It will undoubtedly be blocked in the House of Lords. And there's speculation that there will be an election in May. That's the end of the policy. The other thing, of course, is that the policy, even if the House of Lords and the House of Commons pass this thing, it will undoubtedly end up in the European Court of Human Rights. And there we end up with the problem of, what we're doing consistent with our international obligations? And of course, again, our own Supreme Court said it is not. So we would have to back out of our international commitments in order to be able to do this with Rwanda. So I don't really hold out much hope that the way to manage this process is to try and deter people, or to basically turn evidential reality on its head because it's politically convenient to do so.
You may not hold out hope, but we also know that France is, of course, working with the UK on stopping crossings. The EU, too, has a new pact on migration to limit the number of people entering the bloc. So countries might be getting stricter, but will it solve the problem? Advocacy groups are also saying it's a step backwards.
We're dealing with the problem of what actually happens to people when they arrive at our frontiers, and if you like, we have to process them, and we don't know whether we can send them back anywhere. We don't actually have anywhere we can send back people because we don't have agreements with the countries from which these poor individuals come from. So, yes, we're dealing with the internal dimension of the problem. We haven't really got to grips with the problem of dealing with the external dimension. In other words, the push factors that make these people want to come to Europe. So, of course, for political reasons, the European Union and the United Kingdom have got to play tough. In France, as I'm sure you may be aware, they toughened up their policies against migrants. We're playing politics with human misery. And I think there are more intelligent ways of dealing with this, namely, why are people leaving? Why do people want to come to Europe in such numbers? Uh, do our economies need many of these people? Do we actually manage the whole phenomenon in a way that makes sense for us as well as these people? And of course, the situation that many of these people are living in the countries they're coming from. So it's a much more sophisticated approach that we need to take to solve it. So we still have a heck of a lot of work to do externally, despite the pact in Europe. Remember, the pact is still not law. It still has to be formally agreed, and that's going to take another 2 or 3 months, at least by May. So in the meantime, what happens?
Indeed. Well, perhaps there are more intelligent ways, but for now it is a small victory for the UK Prime Minister. Francesco Rizzuto, Dean, School of Law at Liverpool Hope University, thank you so much.